Hello, I'm Anthony David Hobbs, and this review concerns Red Dwarf 2, Episode 5, Queeg. And I remember seeing this episode when I was 8 years old, didn't fully understand the ending. I remember the gist of it, what the main story was about. Yes, it is a more memorable episode. Didn't quite get the ending, but we'll come to that in a bit. And, and sometimes you remember things not quite accurately. Like at one point in this story, Rimmer, the hologram, he's wandering about without any legs. And he says, has anyone seen my legs? You know, they seem to have wandered off somewhere. Then his legs come back. I remember that scene, but I remember it being in Series 1. Whereas no, it's in Series 2. So in other words, when something happened 5 years ago, you don't remember it 100% accurately, yeah. 5 years is a long time when you're a child. Yeah, definitely, yeah. So I first saw this episode when I was 8, then again when I was 9. Didn't see it again until I was 14. So yeah, a lot of time has passed. Okay, the story. Well, the story concerns, Rimmer is cheating in a game of drafts or checkers against a scutter. Now, a scutter is just a robot hand. They can't talk. But to show his disapproval, because Rimmer has cheated, the scutter goes like that, flicks the V's at him, yeah. Yes, he may not be able to talk, but he can use his hands to express how he's feeling. A bit like Thing from the Addams Family. Anyway, then a meteorite hits the side of the spaceship, yeah. So they have to go and see what the problem is. Lister, the cats, and Rimmer, all on their way to the hologram suite. And the others overtake him. And Rimmer says, wait for me. So he's malfunctioning, yeah. And then Rimmer joins the others and he says, well, the shuttle was late, you see. The shuttle was late, and they're normally on time. They're normally so good, aren't they? And Lister goes, he's reenacting the personality of the ship's psychiatrist. So, yeah. Because he's malfunctioning, he's behaving like different characters on board the ship. And the actor that plays Rimmer used to be in a TV show called Spitting Image. And, of course, in that, there's lots of voices. You need to be good at impersonating different characters. And yes, it's a very funny sequence, but also it demonstrates Chris Barry's talent for impersonating voices. He impersonates the cat, he impersonates Holly, and then Alyssa doesn't understand, but how do you do that, Hole? But how do you do that, Hole? Yeah, he copies what he says. Yeah. So yes, it's quite a funny sequence where they've got to get the hologram machine working properly. And then they put the main socket plugged in, and Lister says, this red cable, shouldn't that connect into something? Holly says, yes, that goes into the white cable. The white cable, yes. So Lister puts them both together. It electrocutes him, and then poof, small explosion happens. Or is it the yellow cable? Yeah, that should have been the yellow cable. So they put the cables in the right place. And Rimmer looks at Holly and says, you are complete and utter and total. A word has yet to be invented to explain what you are. But you are one, and a complete and total one. Yeah. Then a disembodied head appears on the other screen. And Rimmer says, aliens. Yeah, it must be aliens, yeah. It isn't. It is not alien. It's a disembodied head, but it's another computer. And Holly seems to recognise him. Queeg. He goes, hello, I'm Queeg 500, the ship's backup computer, and I'm taking over Red Dwarf. This is mutiny, Mr. Queeg. You can't do that. And why is Holly going to be replaced at all? And Queeg says, because he's incompetent, gross negligence. He's past his best, he's computer senile, he can't do his job properly anymore. And Lister defends Holly and says, he's got an IQ of 6,000. It's got a 6 in it, but it's not 6,000. What is it then? 6? Holly says, that's a total and utter lie. I see his game, he's trying to turn you against me. But Lister says, well, wait a minute, if Holly isn't smart, how come he can answer any questions about outer space and navigation? He can't. He consults all his facts from the Junior Encyclopedia Book of Space. It's the only one he could find that had pictures in it. All right, well, if Holly isn't smart, how come he knows how to navigate us back to Earth then? He can't. You've been going round in circles for 14 months. And the cat says, so that's why he was never on the case. That's why Holly was out to lunch, yeah. And very dramatically, the new computer says, from now on, Red Dwarf is run by Queeg 500. Yeah. And the new computer, the disembodied head, he has a shaved head and a moustache. This is reminiscent of the Sergeant Major in An Officer and a Gentleman. Yes, because he's very strict rules, yeah. And the next couple of days, Lister feels bad, yeah. At least you could have a natter with Holly, yeah. And okay, he wasn't the brightest computer ever, but he was good company, and he feels like he's lost a friend. Yeah, it's very sad, yeah. And but all the machinery works properly. The vending machines work right. The fire extinguishers work when you want them to. Yeah, things have gotten better. The scutters are more on their toes, up to specs. Yeah. However, a couple of days later, Rimmer is woken up at 6 a.m. And I suppose I just have to say this. Once I was out on the town, met some friends. I came back home very late indeed, just before 6 o'clock. And I thought, before I go to bed, I'll have a cup of tea, watch an episode of Red Dwarf. And the episode I watched was Queeg. And then when Rimmer's woken up at 6 a.m., it was 6 a.m. in real life. And I thought, oh, wow, what a nifty coincidence. Yeah. Anyway, back to the story. Rimmer is woken up at 6 a.m. He goes, what do you wake me up for, Queeg? And Queeg says, that's the time you wanted to be woken up. Ah, no, you see, Holly and I had this little understanding. I'd say, wake me up at 6. He'd pretend to forget, wake me up at 10. And since the others don't wake up until after 10, they're none the wiser. He goes back to bed. He's woken up at 6 a.m. In addition to that, Queeg has taken control of his body and make him do like star jumps and lots of exercise. He goes, no. And Lister goes, what's going on? Queeg, he's getting me fit. It's regulation. You can't do this. You can't control my body. Well, the company pays for your light beam that projects your hologram. And since out here I am the company, so you have to do what I say. You will now do a 10-mile jog down the cargo deck. And when you come back, lots of astronavigation revision. Oh, dear me, yes, it's working them really hard, yeah. After that, this happens. The cat says, none of the vending machines will open. There's no food. I can't get any of them to give me anything to eat at all. And Lister says, Queeg, what's wrong with the vending machines? Why can't we have food? Because the company pays for the food, and I'm the company out here. If you want food, you have to work for it. And Lister says, no. You see, Holly and I have this little understanding. From now on, everybody works. You want a morsel of food, you've got to work for it. So yes, and technically, Queeg isn't breaking the rules. Yes, he has the legal right to demand they work for food or anything else, yeah. Whereas Holly, he was a computer with a much nicer personality. I guess he just thought that there's enough food to last 10 lifetimes, so he doesn't charge the cat or Lister for food. And plus, who can they pay? Who are you going to pay? The people that own the space have been dead for millions of years, yeah. Queeg doesn't see it that way. Everything's still regulation and by the book, no matter what. Everyone has to work for a morsel of food, yeah. Then Lister and the cat are put on duty, scrubbing the floors, getting them clean and everything. They meet Holly, who's on like a TV on wheels, yeah. And he says, well, I'm sure Queeg knows what he's doing. He's a much more competent computer than me. And Lister says, I defended you. I think you can do it. I believe you're clever. What's the square root of 2049? Could I ask a space question instead? All right then. What's the nearest planet to the sun? Oh, easy peasy, says Holly. And looks at his junior encyclopedia and says, it's Mercury. Well, you've convinced me, Holly. You're definitely the right computer for the job, yeah. Then afterwards, Lister finds out after all his hard work, he's been given a P on toast. Oh, that's crazy. I work much harder than that, yeah. Now, in other words, there's nothing wrong with working for your food, but yes, this is extortion. Queeg is making them do much too much work and for very little food. They're practically slaves. Oh no, they are slaves. Yeah, this is awful. Rimmer has much more exercising to do, really hard revision, and if he doesn't get it up to specs, he will have to do a 20-mile jog, yeah. And Lister says, we should have stood by him, What about friendship? Simple, basic friendship. We should have stood by Holly. And Rimmer says, do you know over the years who I'd count as friends? Real friends? None. No, I learnt my lesson. I got burnt once. Don't trust anyone. Yeah. And he says, I used to be in the Space Scouts. Yeah. And his best friend was called Porky. And they were put on this survival course. You ate whatever you caught. But some of the Space Scouts, they wanted to eat me. Tied me to a spit and rolled me around over a roasting fire. And I remember thinking, as I was going round and round, Porky will save me. He's my best friend. It turned out Porky was the ringleader. And if the scout mistress hadn't come to stop them, I swear they would have eaten me, yeah. The point is, people are only friends when it suits them, yeah. And if they get benefits from being friends from someone else, then they abandon you and go to them, yeah. plus scouts are supposed to be people of honour and decency, and they do horrible bullying like that. So we can see why Rimmer has a very low opinion of people in general, yeah. Then Holly comes up with a plan. He says, Queeg, I want my ship back. You want Red Dwarf, you've got to fight for her. I challenge you to a game. Any game, you pick the game, and the better mind will win, and I get control of Red Dwarf. And Queeg says, really, what happens to the loser? The loser gets erased completely. So Queeg agrees, because he's convinced he can definitely win. It can be any game you want. Chess, Cluedo, chess, Monopoly, chess, noughts and crosses, chess. Oh, so you like a bit of chess, do you? Okay, because traditionally people that are very clever are good at playing chess. So they start playing the game, and he says horsey to queen bish free, yeah. And it's called a knight, it's not called a horse. And then put that horse over there. And Queeg says, that's an illegal move. Oh, dear me. So Holly can't play the game properly. Oh, dear. Couldn't they play something else? No, anyway, no, the game's well underway, very dramatic music. And I remember thinking, this is deadly serious stuff, because I didn't want Holly to go. And then Queeg puts that piece there and says, double checkmate, sucker. Oh, dear, I didn't see that one coming, you know. And I remember being really sad. This could be the last time we ever see Holly, and he's going to be erased. Before he goes, he says goodbye very dramatically. Lister, I hope it works out and you get it on with Kachansky. Cat, I hope you get it on with, well, anyone really. You're not fussy, anyone will do. I hope you achieve your heart's desire and get your end away. Thanks, man. And Rimmer, I hope you meet aliens that can build you a body and make you become an officer and pass your astro-navigation exam and all the other millions of things you seem to need to make you happy. Thanks, Holly, yeah. Okay, major spoiler alert here. Holly is erased. He ends on a song, and as he sings, his voice goes down and he's erased. So they're very sad indeed. And then Holly comes back to life. And I remember the first time I saw this, not fully understanding, how is that possible? 1 year later, when I watched it again, I paid a bit more attention this time. And Queeg's face appears, then talks in Holly's voice. Then Holly's face appears and says, we are talking Jape of the Decade. We are talking April Fool. What does all this mean? That's right, I am Queeg. Queeg never existed. It was me all along. And the reaction of the others is, what? You just made us go for all that, yeah. And the strange thing is, the two writers of this episode, they didn't know themselves how the episode could end. How can Holly possibly get out of this one? He's scheduled to be erased. And then they thought the only way he can get out of this is if he was Queeg all along. He staged the whole thing. Oh, God. What does all this mean? And Holly goes, you actually believed Queeg's lies. You believe that I can't get us back to Earth and I'm going round in circles for months. Oh, ye of little faith. Well, what does all this mean? And Holly says, the moral is appreciate what you've got, because basically I'm fantastic. So yes, I think that sums it up completely. Yes, they all moaned and complained about the life before, but when Queeg took over, oh, this was far, far worse, and they badly wanted Holly back. Yes, Holly was brilliant compared to him. So what is a happy life? Well, it's all relative, isn't it? Yeah. And Rimmer, when they first got Queeg, he said, we thought we were getting something better, which they were, yes. Yeah, the machinery was all working much better, but at what cost, at what price? All that hard work, being treated like slaves, yeah. So yes, Holly was the much better option to run the ship, yeah. And, yes, they all they thought that they could get something better, but no, they were much better off the way they were before. So in other words, yes. When you imagine how much worse your life could be, it doesn't seem so bad after all. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.